So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Stephanie Hancock. I am the chair of the Transportation, Airports, and Public Works Committee, and this is our policy meeting. Also joining me is Councilmember Lawson and Councilmember Bergan. So, welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. We are going to jump right in with the approval of the October 17th minutes. Do we have any changes, revisions, or deletions, or anything to the minutes? Otherwise, we will accept them as they are.
I approve the minutes. So
All right, fantastic. Then they are so approved. We shall move forward. We've got some nice items on the agenda today, some consent items, general business items. The first one is 4A, consideration to approve the resolution for the IGA with Aurora Public Schools and the Turn Island project. Who's got that one?
That one is me. Thank you
All
very
right, let's
much.
go.
Okay, can everyone see my screen? Hopefully, maybe. Okay, good. Awesome. Thank you, council members. Good afternoon. My name is Carly Campizano, and I'm the traffic manager in the Public Works Department. And this item before you today is an IGA between the city and APS, Aurora Public Schools, for a Turn Island project. So let's see if I can advance the slide. Okay. So this is the intersection location. This is the intersection of 6th Avenue and Bison Way. This is right near Vista Peak Preparatory School, which is why the school district has been heavily involved in this. Bison Way is actually a private road, while 6th Avenue is a public road. And just to give you more of context of where this is just west of 6th and Harvest. It's in Ward 2, and Councilmember Sundberg has been involved in this as well. So just going over the background and purpose of the project, the intersection was previously what we call full movement, which means all lefts and all different turning movements were allowed at this intersection up until relatively recently. With the growth of the school and just growth of traffic in the area, a crash pattern emerged that related to drivers exiting the school, going northbound on Bison and making a left onto 6th. So that crash pattern emerged. We had a meeting with school staff, with district staff, with Councilmember Sundberg back in 2022, and we went over various options on how to address this crash pattern. So what we all agreed on was restricting the lefts out, making the movement out right turns only. So that was actually implemented by school district staff in 2022. And it was very successful. I think it's really helped with that crash pattern. Crashes decreased pretty much right away. There have still been some people making illegal turns in this area. And there have also been maintenance issues just with the temporary nature of what was installed, which I'll show you on the next slide as well. So given all that, we've been working with the school and they've wanted to pursue a more permanent solution. So this IGA is to construct a turn island. It'll be raised curb, and Aurora will be responsible for the design and the school will fund the construction. So these images just give you some history. Really love near map, makes our jobs a little easier having all the aerials over time. So 2021, you can see it was a full movement intersection with the different lefts allowed. In 2022, the school district implemented the new striping design, which converted it to right outs only. You can't really see in this image, but they also put in delineators, which are those like candlestick posts in the ground. You can kind of see the shadows, but not really in this aerial. People were going around them and kind of hitting them, and it became a maintenance issue. So they actually put in some temporary barricades to help channelize people in 2023. But you can even see in the aerial, those are kind of getting moved around and those can be tough too. So now we're pursuing what you see over on the right of the screen, which is a raised turn island, which will be curb. And this is just a concept. It's still in design right now. So the details of this IGA, like I said, the city's going to fund the or not fund, but can do the turn island design. So we'll do it using internal staff resources in our transportation project delivery group, which is Kathy's group. And then the public school district will fund the construction up to $60,000, which is the estimate we provided to them. And the city will manage the construction of the turn island just because we have more experience doing that kind of work. So this has really been a great partnership, and the school district has been super helpful in helping to address this problem, which we appreciate. And so the question for you is, does the committee support moving the resolution for the IGA between Aurora Public Schools and the City of Aurora for the Turn Island project to the next available study session? That's all I have. And construction would be hopefully next summer, 2025. We should
Was going to
say
be
that
my
as well.
question.
So,
When is this going to get
yeah,
underway? When
yeah,
school
we're
is out?
aiming for 2025. Yeah, hopefully when school's out and weather is nice is normally our goals near schools. So, and thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that presentation. Are there any questions, Councilmember Lawson, Councilmember Bergan, if you're on? Yeah.
I have no questions. I think this is a very good collaboration with the school district and the city. So it's going to be a good project. So thank you so much for presenting. And I approve it moving forward.
I support
Thank
it
you.
as well. Yep. So
Appreciate
you
it.
have eyes from us. We support that. That's fantastic. All right. Well, we're clipping right along. We're at 4B, the intergovernmental IGA with the Regional Transportation District.
Thank you, Chair Hancock and council members. My name is Tom Worker Braddock, Senior Transportation Planner with City of Aurora. Here with me is Erica Angel, a planner with the Pros Department. The older adult community in Aurora has expressed a need for additional mobility options in Aurora for quite some time now. Pros, with support from the Planning and Business Development Department, submitted a grant application to the RTD Partnership Program. This RTD program provides funding to local jurisdictions for those local jurisdictions to directly address mobility needs. What's before you is an intergovernmental agreement between the city and the RTD for that program. And with that, I'll turn it over to Eric to provide additional details.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
And I'm sharing my screen, right? I can't grab, there we go. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, it's my first time with you guys. I'm happy to be here. And I'll try to make this as quick as Carly is probably not though. But let's dive right into it. So the reason for this is that to launch this microtransit pilot program that will be going on for 3 years. And this IGA came about because we found additional funding for this program we wanted to run. So basically, the background real short on it is that back in 2022, I want to say fall or so, talks began with the Older Adult Commission at the ACAA, the ACFOA, and about a need for this sort of program, and to attribute this to Councilmember Lawson, she did help. She was a big catalyst to getting this earmarked funds, 170,000 from council in spring of 2023 for this. And so then Nicole, manager of planning, design, and construction, Nicole Ankeny, and I started working also with Tom to kind of design how this program would look. And we just researched from there on, and then Nicole was able to secure more funds through this grant. So I'll go ahead and scroll down to the next. So as I said, 2023, or I didn't say 2023, it started this RTD partnership program, had $8 million, or eight projects, $2 million. And 2024, it actually got up to, it's like $3.3 million now. So we're one of the recipients. It allows for projects that basically expand upon already existing transit deployment services like FlexRide, Access a Ride. Dr. Cog has their choice programs here. So to allow for that, the extent of that, mostly it's transit services. Other times it can be something like in the last one you see here, projects that do not provide service but enhances mobility. So basically we are on-demand transit service. It's demand responsive, so it's not a fixed route. People can call in anytime and get this service so long as they meet the guidelines, which I'll go into in a little bit more. And also, so this will be very good, I like to say, for through door is what we're aiming for. So that gets users from their door out, carrying groceries or just needing assistance, and then doubling back on the way, the arrival, same. So that's really important, and I think Council Member Lawson can go on about the membership of the blind and that sort of thing here in a minute. And so let me scroll on. Sorry, I'm trying to get this together. To get this, secure this funding, you had to meet RTD's requirements here. You know, they're pretty standard. One of them I'd like to point out is that it is again, ability to complement existing services. We do have the choice services, which we pay into as a city, and they do service our, just Aurora is so large that the need exceeds the capacity, so that will be complemented. And the place where I'll show you in the map where we chose does help meet populations that would be most in need for this. Right here, this are just some specs. You guys have all seen this in the packet. But basically, it's Aurora resident 60s and up, door through door. These are the metrics we're required to meet for this IGA. Two passengers per hour. We have half of our vehicles, which would be two, so it would be one would be ADA compliant with wheelchair accessibility. And our service area, which I'll go ahead and jump into this one, and not to skip over too fast, but the hours would be Monday through Friday. We would like to ideally have every day of the week. We'd like to do the whole city. It's just with the funding we have right now, we can only concentrate on these times and this service area. So as you can see, it is all the west side of the city, down to the boundaries on the west side, and then it ending on the east side at 225. We'd like to go bigger. We were looking at bigger expanses, and all these dots, colored dots and triangles and everything, this indicates services that older adults are most likely to use. And so a lot more of most of them fall into this area, which is another reason why we had it, when we narrowed it down, we still kept this area. And then the red is this is a transit propensity map that thanks to Tom, him and his team were able to create, or at least with the ongoing Connecting Aurora, this shows those most likely to use transit services. So we got most all of those areas in the city within this boundary. So that's something good to focus on. And then something else I'd like to say, there are other services existing in the region. Lots of cities have these, not lots, but a few. And Denver has it up here, up in the north for the Montbello connector. It doesn't actually catch this area north of ours, but it does go to Peoria. That's the one exception outside of the boundary. So having this service would be able to link somebody free of charge all the way to inside of Denver, at least the northeast side. Here we are for the budget. This is the main thing everybody wants to know. So it's limited to 850,000. That's total with RTD and our side. Our side is 170,000. That's 20% of the matching, and the 80% right here. And so yeah, we're over 3 years. So we're actually going to start probably putting out the RFP in the first quarter of next year, and then we'll hope to have it launched by like about April, and so that would be 3/4 of the year with the first year funding. Down here, these are just a few of the programs that exist in the area. This isn't even all of them. This has really been picking up steam, this trend of microtransit services in the last few years. So I mentioned Denver has Montbello Connector. It also has another one that's more central to the city. I don't recall what it's called at this point. Lone Tree is a popular one that we also looked into when we were thinking of how we're going to design this program. They're more established. They have a pretty large fund, and I believe they're the only ones to receive the funding 2 years in a row. Golden has an ORCART, which is a combined partnership with the School of Mines. So they have a fixed route that actually goes throughout their downtown, and it's such a small area that that works for them. Littleton has Omnibus Via, which is also a demand responsive point to point. So with all that being said, we're just requesting at this point if you would support moving forward with the resolution, the intergovernmental agreement between RTD and the City of Aurora. To move forward to the next available study session. That's all I have for you all. Any questions?
Thank you for that presentation. I appreciate that. I just have one question. RTD, or will they be RTD drivers, or are they some subcontractors? Maybe somebody answered this before and I didn't get it.
No.
Could you?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt. They are not the contracted party. They're just supplying the funds, and we would have to adhere to the requirements, but it's up to us who we picked as a contractor. They they, have accessoride, and I believe that some of their vehicles are provided by Via Mobility Services. So that is a potential contractor we'd be looking at. But no, they're not the ones that provide it exclusively.
And if I can clarify, Eric and Chair Hancock, as Eric mentioned, RTD in this instance just provides this additional funding. It will be up to the city to administer the RFP, go through the procurement process, select and hire the contractor, and then administer that contractor. So this will be a private third-party contractor that's not RTD. It's not the city of Aurora. It will be a company that's hired by the city. That being said, several of these contractors in the area worked very closely with RTD, worked very closely with Dr. Cog, and are very familiar with the types of requirements related to these programs.
Councilmember Lawson?
Thank you, Tom.
Yes. So thank you so much. I'm very excited about this program. It's a 3-year program. It'll probably be towards the end of my term on council, but it would be good to see the results. Councilmember Hancock and my area in particular, we have a lot of older adults. So I think this is going to be very beneficial for these individuals. Just one concern that I do have, and I hope that it can be maybe cleared up or maybe as we develop the program, is I just want to make sure that the way people are able to access the the program through, different communications. I know a lot of people, like my parents are not going online to do something. They're kind of old school with the calling. Is that going to be accessible, making sure that it's easy for people if they use the app or if they go use the phone? Also, we have individuals with disabilities. We're going to be speaking to those individuals on Saturday at not their town hall, at their meeting. So I just want to make sure that that's something that we're considering, the access and how individuals are going to be able to access whatever we're going to use here, an app, they can call.
Yeah. Oh,
Whatever
absolutely.
type of thing. So because that has been some issues that I've heard about. So
absolutely. No, and I remember when we were trying to come up with how we design this program, we made that a big component of the accessibility. Most of the providers would have call centers. Not all of them have apps, but some more established ones like Via Mobility, MT Transit, they have their apps, so you can do either or. So, but at the very least, it will be a call center. But we are gonna, at the very least, most of the providers would have a call center, but we're gonna be requesting both from our service provider.
Yeah, that's a great idea because, my mom wasn't a big fan of doing the app. She's going to call you and say, come pick me up. So I think it's really important to have that option. Thank you for Councilmember Lawson for bringing it up. And thank you for being forward thinking and having that be part of the component. Because for the community that we're serving, we're talking, 80, 70, 80, 90-year-olds. They're like, no, I'm not doing that. So
Yeah,
Very
and there
good.
is ability to schedule ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt. To schedule ahead of time as well, and which is what they always encourage. But you can get a ride within a half hour.
And then just Eric, not to interrupt you, but just also the other, and I think I brought this up to Nicole and Laura, the multiple trips that they can, if someone could go to the store and then maybe they have a doctor's appointment. I think with the current system, that's kind of been some issues wherein they might be able to get a trip to the doctor, but then they have to wait an hour to even for them to get picked up. So that's just with the current RTD the way it is. So I'm hoping that this service can be used for multiple appointments within that time frame, if that's possible.
Yeah. I think that is something that certain providers have the potential to do because they already service the area. Like I keep going back to this one, they already work with Via Mobility Service, so they have vans in the area that are already servicing Aurora in different parts of this area. So they'll be able to act on it faster than others, and that may be something that we want to consider as importance above other providers. So we'll have to look at that, but definitely.
And if I can add, Councilmember Lawson, that's really one of the benefits of this RTD partnership program is it really gives us, the city, a lot more flexibility in determining what's important to the city and our residents and allows us to design the RFP and design the contract with that provider to emphasize those things such as making sure they're accessible via the telephone, making sure that they have multiple trip capabilities when making those reservations. So with your input, we'll be incorporating those bullet points into this RFP that will be shopping out to potential providers.
Perfect.
Well,
Thank you.
well, thank you so much. This is fantastic. I'm really excited about it, and I think it's going to be a really good service for our older adults in our community. So thank you so much, and I approve it moving forward, Councilmember Hancock.
Thank you.
I agree as well. And to your points that it's flexible, ease of operation, multiple streams of communication, and being able to have the fleet to be able to accommodate these seniors. Because it's hard enough when you have to give up your car, you're 84, your kids won't let you drive anymore, but you still want to go where you want to go. And so to be able to, accommodate that for these older citizens, I think this is a great idea. And I also approve it moving forward. Thank you so much, Eric, for your presentation, and thank you very much for your hard work on this. And I know, Angela, this is near and dear to your heart, Councilmember Lawson, so I am very pleased that this is moving forward. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So moving on to 4C, the Northwest Aurora Alley Paving Program update. I know this is for informational purposes only, but if you have an update, let's hear it.
All right, thank you. I will just share my screen here. Thank you, TAPS. I'm Kathy Valencia. I'm the Transportation Project Delivery Manager in Public Works, and today I will be providing an update on the city's Northwest Aurora Alley Paving Program, and also our proposed change to the alley selection process. So here's a map of all of the alleys that are part of the program. There were originally 285 unpaved alleys. We have completed 168, and we have 117 remaining approximately. The green alleys have all been improved in this map. The red alleys are privately owned. We do not have public right-of-way at this time. Pink have been completed. They were the 2022 selections. The 2023 selections are in purple, and those were recently completed over the summer. And then the blue ones are the ones that were selected for 2024, and they are currently in design and will be constructed in the summer. So the alley paving program was established over 20 years ago. Historically, there was an annual lottery, and 4 alleys were randomly selected for improvements, 2 north and 2 south of Colfax. Funding was provided through a CDBG grant that was discontinued in 2022, and city funds were discontinued in 2008 and then reestablished in 2022. And then on the right there are some pictures of before and after once we paved the alleys. In 2022, Council established a new program providing approximately $500,000 a year through city funds, and 2 alleys are selected based on need, and those selections occur based on recommendations from Public Works, Aurora Police Department, and Code Enforcement. And then 2 alleys are currently selected by Lotto, and again on the right, the pics of the before and after of the alleys. So here is a need-based example that was selected in 2024. This owner of a fitness business reached out to the city requesting that his alley be paved. And we found out that we did not have the needed right-of-way to pave his alley, but luckily he was able to reach out to all of the other neighbors along the alley, and they all dedicated the needed right-of-way. So this was one of the projects that was selected for 2024. And for 2024, as I said, we selected 2 alleys based on need. The first one was the one the fitness business owner. And then the second one here shown on the right was an alley that we selected that was previously paved but could not be regraded, and it was in pretty bad shape. And just a note, whenever we do get alley requests that we can't pave at the time, Streets is able to go out there and regrade and make it smoother in the interim until it's ready to be paved. So this was one, since it was already paved, we couldn't regrade it, and that's why it was selected for 2024. All right. So last January, we held the annual lottery at Councilmember Murillo's ward meeting, and 2 alleys were selected in the lotto. No one from the public had come to the meeting for the lottery, and we're all kind of surprised to hear about the lottery. So at that time, Sam Murillo asked that we do some research to see if there would be any opposition to eliminating the lottery and selecting the alleys based on need only. So we did some research. We reached out to community services and these other neighborhood groups, Nano and Delmar, to see if anyone was still even knew about the lottery or was interested in continuing the lottery. And from what we understand, there's no one really knows about the lottery anymore. I think it was just something from the past that we were just doing. And so there was no opposition to eliminating the lottery. So at this time, Public Works is recommending that going forward, we select the alleys based on need only. And then on the right there, there's another before and after picture for you. So that is the update. And any questions or comments?
I have a question. It's 500,000 or $250,000 for each alleyway?
Our budget is $500,000 and we can usually do between 3 and 4 with that amount of money. Yes.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, whoa, that is super expensive to have that. What are y'all paving it with? Do they warm up on their own? I don't know, to help cars move for $250,000.
Yeah, and it's actually getting more expensive. So trying to squeeze in 4 is even a little bit of a challenge, but
What
people really
contributes
like
to
it.
the
I mean, the
cost?
residents that get their alleys paved are always very thrilled to be selected. But I think, at Cia Murillo's advice, just to make it more need-based instead of just a lottery, because no one really seemed to even be
Even know
interested in the
about it.
lottery.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of need. Like we have a list of high priority projects.
Well, certainly I can see the value add, especially for the property and for the owners and for people's homes that back up against the alleys to have a nice, smooth, not muddy area to drive down. I mean, that's great. I guess if the trash trucks go up and down that way too, I'm sure it
Mhm.
makes their egress a lot simpler too. So, and
Yes.
you've gotten quite a few done.
Mhm.
This year. So that's really great. Well, in the past year. So
Yeah.
that's good. Councilmember Lawson?
Yes, I just have one question, Kathleen. So, just looking at this after picture and I see this truck, what's the maintenance of these after? Because if you have cars and big trucks coming through them, which I think they're fantastic, it's better to be on this than mud. But what is the maintenance? Because you're going to have some deterioration of the alley if you have all of these trucks and cars going through them. So I'm just asking, does the city maintain those and what's the cost of that?
We do maintain, and I would say it's typical to any other, concrete project. Cindy, you might have a better idea of how long these last, but I would say at least 20 years. I think the picture from um, this one that was previously paved and the pavement was starting to crack. But again, this was pavement, not concrete. So I think the life cycle cost maybe 20 years. Cindy, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, and actually we also have our operations folks on, Mark Tamburo and Kurt Muehlmeyer. Typically when we pave an alley, the traffic on there, even though there are trucks that go up and down there, the traffic load is pretty light on an alley because it's generally the residents getting access and then the trash delivery or trash pickup and stuff like that. So really the deterioration, they last a long time. I'm going to say
Okay.
at least 20 years. I am not familiar in my time at the city of ever having to go back and do retrofits on the alleys, except as Kathy is showing here with the one done in pavement. So
Okay.
our operations folks were thrilled when we said we wanted to move to the needs-based because they have to go in and grade those alleys, and that's a rough job, especially after rain and snow. So
Okay.
hope
Okay.
that
Yeah, I can add into that. I don't know that we really have had to go back on them once they're concreted. However, the ones that are paved, Councilmember Lawson and Hancock, they don't really hold up quite as as long.
Okay.
So the concrete's a much better product. And to Cindy's point, creating the dirt alleys is very much a challenge for us. We are on them, I will say monthly. We try to hit all of the unimproved alleys at least once a year. Ideally, we'd like to get to them more, but in full transparency, we're getting around to them about once a year. And then, of course, as complaints come in through Access Aurora, we'll address those, higher priority needs. The one that, was shown on Dayton, that was a problem child for us. So the fact that it's getting completed is huge for us. So we really appreciate this program.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you for that. I mean, I know Concrete is more stabilized. I know that, coming up Parker Road, sometimes that is kind of concrete, but they do get some holes in them. So, I mean, but they have a lot more traffic going on, but they do kind of deteriorate where you have to it's a little rough sometimes on Parker Road. So I just was asking about that, but thank you.
Indeed. But it's nice. It's aesthetically pleasing, adds to the property value, makes it easier to transport. So this is a good thing. And thank you for the report and keeping us up to date with how the city is progressing and beautifying our community. So appreciate that.
You're welcome.
That was information only, correct?
Yep, and just to get if you have any thoughts on eliminating the alley lottery in favor of
No,
need-based.
I think it should be needs
Yeah,
based.
need base.
I definitely think it should be needs based,
Okay,
and
great.
it, especially since people don't even know that it's there. I mean, with the highly transitional nature of some of the areas, you've had folks moving in and out. They don't even remember the first time. So I think needs based is probably the best way to go. Hmm.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And finally, 4D, the consideration to approve a resolution for the IGA between the City of Aurora, Arapahoe, and Elbert County regarding the operations and maintenance for County Line Road east of Monoghan. Okay, the Elbert intersection. Let's talk about this one.
All right, can you hear me and see my screen?
Yepers.
Wonderful, okay. Good afternoon, council members of the TAPS committee. Thank you for your time today. My name is Haley Johansson. I'm the city engineer in the Development Services Department. Today, I'm presenting the proposed intergovernmental agreement with Elbert and Arapahoe counties, covering the maintenance obligations for a 1 mile segment of County Line Road. I will have some additional information beyond the IGA around a separate IGA for traffic signal funding contributions to the city as well. And I'll cover that in this presentation a little bit later. This guy. All right. Okay. The 1 mile segment of County Line Road extends east from the Monaghan-Delbert Road intersection. To the north of the segment, there's an Aurora development called Trails at Overland Ranch. It's currently progressing through the city's development process. Simultaneously, there is an Elbert County development on the south side of County Line Road. This is called the Elora development. The Elora development does not extend the entire 1 mile stretch of roadway. The reason for the tri-party agreement is because County Line overlaps with annexed Aurora on the north side. There's kind of a layer cake situation with Arapahoe County in the middle and then Elbert County on the south. There's an image of this representation on the right side of the slide here. The overlap is the reason for the IGA. The segment of roadway is going to follow the City of Aurora standards, and that's a 4-lane arterial section. Trails at Overland Ranch extends the full 1 mile length of the roadway on the north side. And then because the Elora development does not extend the full length at this time, there will be a transition from the 4-lane at the eastern edge of that development back to the existing 2-lane roadway that's currently there. Aurora will be responsible generally for the maintenance of the roadway from the southern curb line on County Line of the road to the north. And then this will include pavement, curb and gutter, any medians, snow removal and sweeping, striping and signage. There are some drainage and storm culverts along this section of roadway, as well as water and sanitary infrastructure. Along the northern curbside landscape area, the city will be responsible for the maintenance of the sidewalk, rehabilitation, and reconstruction when that's necessary. The development is going to be building that. We'll also be responsible for the streetlights, curb ramps, and any signage along the northern side of the road. Weeds and debris are also the responsibility of the city, but this is assigned to the adjacent property owner through our city code. For Elbert County, they're responsible for the infrastructure on the south side of the southern curb line, including the sidewalks, curb ramps, curbside landscaping, weeds and debris, and streetlights. Whenever the eastern 2-lane segment is expanded to the ultimate 4-lane section, which is likely to occur at the time of the development of the adjacent properties on the south side, Elbert County will be responsible for any newly installed sidewalks, curbside landscape, weeds and debris, and streetlights at that time. Just to note, the development of that particular area may not occur for a significant period of time. And then Arapahoe County doesn't have any maintenance obligations along this stretch as a result of this IGA. As I noted in the beginning of this presentation, we are working on a separate traffic signal funding IGA that will include contributions to the city, which I want to discuss at this meeting at this time, although it's not on the agenda. This IGA is closely tied with the county line maintenance and obligation IGA, but unfortunately, we couldn't quite get to the finalization of the language by the time the workflow for TAPs needed to be completed. And that was due to some ongoing negotiations with Elbert County that got delayed from that 3-day snowstorm that we had going on. Since then, those negotiations have been completed, and to maintain the timing with the maintenance and operations IGA that is on the agenda, I'll go over the specifics of the traffic signal IGA now. This slide isn't in your packet. I put it in for context, and I just kind of made a note of that up at the upper right there for reference. The future traffic signal is at the west edge of the 1-mile county line segment, and it's the intersection of Monaghan and Delbert with county line. The IGA that we're working on would provide 50% of the funding contribution to the city from Elbert County and the Elora developer, which is the Elbert County developer on the southeast corner. The IGA language is not yet finalized, but in our recent meeting, both parties have verbally agreed to the negotiation kind of language around the IGA, and that means that both Elbert County and Elora Development are planning to remit those traffic signal funds to the city within 120 days of the executed agreement. So we're expecting sometime in 2025. The final language is being circulated now between Aurora, Elbert, and Elora Development for their confirmation. The other 50% of the contribution is from the Aurora developments on the north side, and that includes Blackstone and the trails at Overland Ranch, which are required as part of our city code and contributed to the traffic signal escrow fund through the development process. And with that said, I now have 2 questions for you, and I'm happy to answer any questions, especially on that new information. But does the Council Policy Committee support the resolution for the IGA between Aurora, Arapahoe, and Elbert County regarding the maintenance and operation for the segment of county line moving forward to the next available study session?
So, Member Lawson.
I approve it moving forward. I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you.
I don't have any either, except for one. I just thought of it. Why aren't we just going to do the lanes all the entire mile? We know that development is happening. So why don't we just do it while we can do it?
That's a good question. So there's a private agreement between the Trails at Overland Ranch development and the Elora development to build the segment of roadway that's required for their developments now I would say that if the Allura development did extend that entire 1 mile, we would complete that. But since we don't have the that segment of roadway, that southern half being developed at this time, we can't really require that section of roadway. We do require the transition to be completed to get back to the existing 2-lane. But at this time, since there's no one over there to contribute to that section of roadway, we can't really require it of the current developments. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it's dumb, but okay. I just feel like, we're gonna get there. It's coming. So while the prices are the prices that they are now, as things are always going up, it just seems like, okay, this seems like it could be a good deal to just do the whole mile and, pave it. We know that development is coming so that we can kind of get ahead of it. But that's just me thinking like that. I don't know how engineers think, but that's kind of how I look at it. But yes, I approve it going to the study session as well, and look forward to you presenting to the whole council. I'm sure I'm not the only person who's going to ask that question, though. So be prepared.
I will, thank you. And then I had a second question that's not on our slide here. But since the traffic signal funding IGA that I gave the additional information about isn't on the agenda, so committee chairperson Hancock, would you support sponsoring the traffic signal funding IGA to go directly to the next study session?
I'm fine with it. Let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Let's get it done, because we know we have to get it done. How much does a traffic signal cost, by the way? Do you know?
The current traffic signal escrow, and Carly can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's at $812,000 for an intersection.
Wow, good gravy. And how many will we need there?
We're only going to have the one at County Line in Monaghan at this time, and it'll be installed when it's warranted.
Yes,
Powhatan
that's
and
fine.
County Line will be signalized. Sorry about that. Powhatan to the west will be signalized eventually too, but that's separate. So
Okay, because we've got 4, potentially 4 major developments right there. I think, at least 2 would probably be efficient way of monitoring and, addressing the traffic issues that are there. When you're talking about crash points and that kind of thing, it happens, so yeah. Hey, I'm fine with that. We can move it forward, both of those items forward to study session so we can accomplish both of those tasks right away.
Wonderful. Thank you so
Okay.
much, and thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you for the presentation. I appreciate it very much. Do we have any miscellaneous matters for consideration? Laura Perry, anything in the background that you want to talk to us about, and also anticipated topics for the next meeting?
No miscellaneous items today from staff, and typically this committee has not had a December agenda or meeting. So just wanted to double confirm, Chair Hancock, that the committee would like to proceed as such. And if yes, then we'd be looking at convening in January.
We're looking at convening in January, and I just want to say to the staff that have been working very hard on the various projects throughout my first term, which is my anniversary is the 4th of December. It marks my 1-year anniversary as a city council member, and it's been a whirlwind, I gotta tell you. And I've learned so much about traffic and water and infrastructure and negotiations and all that stuff. And I think it's really important what you guys do, how you consider what the needs of the city are and get ahead of those things. I think you've done a stellar job in doing that and making our city a livable, happy, moving, the multimodal study, that was a great thing. And just seeing us move forward as a city as we grow, because TAPS is really going to be integral in as our city grows to get ahead of it, not behind it, so that our city can comfortably grow and we can attract more businesses and more people and more everything that's good about our city. So thank you very much, team, for Cindy and Laura and Mark and Tracy. And I feel like the lady on the what's the little show where she had the little rabbit, or what was it? I'm digressing. With all y'all are probably too young. Never mind. But there was a lady who would point out all the kids on TV, and you would think she's just Well, I'm talking just to you guys. I just want you to know, Ryan, Scott, how much work you put in. It's not gone unnoticed, and we appreciate all that you do. And I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving. We do have a lot to be thankful for, and a wonderful Christmas holiday season too.
And
Councilmember Lawson.
yeah, and I just want to, I appreciate your leadership on this committee, especially, you know, for the being a first year council member on the committees. You did a fabulous job, and I really do appreciate all of your leadership. So thank you. It was an enjoyable to be on taps with you and to serve on this committee. And thank you to everyone, city staff. You know how I feel about you. Thank you. I know, and I appreciate all you have done, especially for the city and also for my ward and my residents as well. So thank you to everybody, and I hope everybody has an enjoyable Thanksgiving, and hopefully we'll see each other again. Well, we'll see each other again, but on the committee level. So I love the transportation committee. So
Yeah. I've really enjoyed this. I've learned so much. And so, you know, with the, especially Councilmember Lawson and I, we often have issues with traffic, with speeding, with calming, with turns, with new construction, especially at the 9 Mile and I-225 corridor and ILIF. They're pain points for us. But to see, you know, this committee and the staff work hard to mitigate some of those issues, and finally seeing the bridge is going to be a reality. I'm like, it's been talked about for a decade. Come on, let's get it built. So I'm very excited that this is actually moving forward, and to see this forward momentum, you know, gives me much encouragement, and I appreciate all the hard work you guys do. And so until we reconvene at next council study session, and our meeting meets again in January, I pray you have all a great holiday season, and thank you for all that you do. And with that, we are adjourned.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.